Hey, happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to Draglist Live, where we get to bench race with the world's top drag racers. My name is Bill Pratt. Tonight we feature Jim Cummings of East Coast Fuelers. We're going to hear all about these fantastic nostalgia dragsters and ultras. Before we bring in Jim, let's go to John. John, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great here, BP, and howdy from Houston, everybody. Please join us on the live chat. The chat board is on the right side of your YouTube window. Tell us who you are, where you're from. I'll take notes and I'll pass your questions and comments along to BP and the cat herder.
There you go. And folks, click the like and share button. While you're at it, click the subscribe. Let your friends know we have Jim here live. And to prove it, let's bring him in. Jim Cummings, welcome to the show.
Thanks, guys. How you doing? Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
And so glad to have you on. I mean, we've gotten to meet with you a couple times this year, see you race, see your cars race, that fantastic circuit. And I've been wanting to get you on here for a while. We did a racer of the week, but that's not good enough. We needed to get you on here and hear directly from you. So
Awesome.
so tell us, I mean, we'll talk about like your racing history. We'll talk about the circuit a little bit. We'll talk about where you guys are going to go next, and we'll also talk a little bit about I don't know, we'll have about some racing stories down the road, all kinds of good stuff. I'll look forward to meeting with the super crew. I'll bet there's a whole bunch of guys from the circuit watching. Welcome, guys. Anyway, Jim, let's get started. Walk us through your career. How'd you kind of get started in drag racing?
You know, back in my early years when I was, 7, 8, 9, I always loved drag racing when it was its infancy in the 60s. Just loved it. It was fun. It was neat and really cool and exciting. I grew up in Baldwin, Long Island, so motion. And my first taste of nitro was New York National, and it was Brutus, Lou Arrington, racing some guy, Jim, and on a Wednesday night. And my eyes are still burning from that, and I still remember that smell. It's just awesome. It was great.
That's awesome. Some guy flew in from the West Coast named Jim.
Yeah. No, it was Jungle Jim. Yeah,
right.
on the West Coast, right? But
Yeah.
it was really neat. It was a lot of fun. Back in those days, the funny cars had the headers under the frame rails and stuff. So
Right.
it was real early on that. You know, Baldwin, I used to go to junior high. I'd pass motion and look at the cars being built, the different ones, the new ones, the Vegas, the Camaros, the Vet.
Right.
I remember watching that, seeing that being in development and stuff, and all the neat projects. And you ride your bicycle by and see it. And that particular stretch of Sunrise Highway, there was always a test of speeds going on at some time in the evening.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Were they so Baldwin, I'm a Cleveland kid, so I was seeing them in the back of all the magazines. Were they all white with those black pointed stripes on them? Did they paint them all the same way?
No, some had some interesting colored paint jobs. The Corvette, if I'm not mistaken, it's been a long. I actually saw that car just recently, maybe about 6 years ago. The guy had it. It was the original motion Corvette, the 68 or 69 or whatever. And it was all the psychedelic color type stuff with the zigzags and then the airbrush around it.
Right.
Finally doing that. There was some one blue, there's white, and then Jeff Baker was there working there at the time too. Later on in my racing career and stuff, so it was all good stuff. Yeah.
Man, I used to love those. You're talking about the paint jobs of the 70s, late 60s, early 70s. All it just used to blow my mind. You don't see that too much anymore.
No, it was the psychedelics. As a matter of fact, my current car, Glenn Weisgerber, did the sides and stuff. He goes, "Well, how do you want it?" I said, "Have at it. It's an old school." He goes, "No problem," and he came up with that. So yeah, it was probably one of the last cars Glenn did in his shop in Edison. And I just saw him up at Dead Man's Curve, and we were just talking about that too as well. Yeah. So it's God bless Glenn. He's he painted my helmet.
Yeah. Cool.
And I actually put it on while he's spraying it. So I don't know, a few brain cells got eliminated then too. So
you got a unique view of his heart work that most folks never get, right?
yeah, and you watch it happen and you think about it, and I'm a process type guy too. So and they actually do it in reverse. Like the blacks are in the back, and then they build up onto it, like a sandcastle type thing.
I gotcha.
Wow. It's you read look at the, so they're thinking in negatives and it becomes the positive. So right. It's really wild, the creativity on this stuff. Like Steve Bell does a lot of our stuff too. He comes up with things that's yeah. Hey Steve, I need this. Okay, done.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Yeah,
all those guys, man. I had some good buddies up that way for over the years. It was great. Yeah. Here's it. So Jack Red sent me a note, said he can't get the show. Oh my gosh, Jack. I don't know.
He's better off. No.
I don't know. It's
that's
somebody go over to Jack's house and help him out, guys.
There you go. I was racing. My first car was a 72 Barracuda with a 440 in it, and we were back in those days, it was like the old super stock suspensions.
Yeah.
Ladder bars were only on gassers, right. And they were 30 feet long. But the
looked like the Brooklyn Bridge on two Brooklyn bridges.
Yes, the Verrazano, yeah. But it was a super stock springs. Mike Magistro was helping me with that, who was a stocker and a comp racer back in the day. May he rest in peace. As a matter of fact, Jerry Stein, I ran into him and we were talking, and he was a patient as well. So, and I said, "You Jerry?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "All right." And then we was talking. I said, "Mike Magna." He goes, "Oh, Mike and I, we had a lot of fun and all of that stuff." So we were sitting there bench racing before, on negative stuff. Matter of fact, the center section in my car now is from him.
Really?
Yeah. I said, I need a center section. It's an 8 3/4. No one has them anymore.
Yeah.
And Jerry goes, "I got one for you, kid. Don't worry about it. It's done."
That is cool.
Yeah, it was right around the corner from my office too. At the same time, he goes, "You don't know where I am?" I said, "No." He goes, "Stevie Wonder could find me," but basic Jerry. But those guys helped me out a whole bunch, and then I got my first dragster, which was an old Garlett's 145-inch car, right. And then I took my 440 out of there and put a power glide behind it, which was back in 80 or something like that.
Yeah, wow.
And the A1 had that kit. There was not that many out there, adapter plates.
Right.
And it was neat. It was a piece of 1/2-inch tool plate, so it was bulletproof. It was great. Yeah. I was running that for a while, bracket racing. Right. John Nobile, I beat him a few times, and he'd come up and go, "You got to put a flag on the front of this so I can see where you are."
So that's the secret of dragsters and bracket racing, my friend.
Oh, it was great. I put my shoulder next to the driver. I knew I had 12 feet on it.
Yeah.
And then
it was great.
It was all good. It was a lot of fun. Just basic bracket racing all the time. Every race was great. Every win was great. Every round is always a great race.
Right.
I'm not as competitive like we used to be because of, the East Coast fuelers, but we have some good competition amongst ourselves. The T-shirt Ray gave me, because I gave that T-shirt to him first.
Okay.
A couple of years ago at Virginia Motorsports. So next thing you know, it's on my trailer last week. A couple of weeks ago, we were in VMP because he beat me, but it's all good.
Well, let's see if any of those guys are out here. Let's go to John, and I see him over there working hard and typing. And John, who's out there to visit with us tonight? Anybody got any thoughts?
Yeah, so far we have a few nice comments here. Ted Papacina's with us tonight, and he says, "Hi, Jim, best front engine group out there."
Okay.
And Kay Thurkelson posted, "Hey, Jim, keep the harassment coming on Facebook." A new friend. Mark Malinsky in New Jersey is with us. He says, "Taz is the man for sure."
Yeah.
And I just posted, we did have a post that's kind of a misunderstanding about this, because I advertise these shows on my Facebook page.
Uh-huh.
The show is no longer on Facebook at all. It's exclusively on YouTube.
Right.
And I post the YouTube address. Let's see. Kay said, I suggest you add a bit of blood did it to your collection, Jim, and or any new graphic and design work you might need in the near future.
So
There you go.
always be closing, girl. That's the Kay's out there. I'm glad she's on our side, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, she said, hope everyone here this evening had a chance to wish both Bill and John a happy birthday.
Good. Thank you, everybody. It was great.
Thank you. And Rich Panicaro is with us tonight, and he says, hey, gang. And I think Jack might be going to Facebook to try to get the show. So, Jack,
Well,
if
I
you're
hope not.
listening, yeah, come on over to YouTube and you'll get it there.
Yeah. I don't know. But that's okay. We'll get him. Mr. Red, Mr. Jack approved. We need a
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly. I got to get one of those stickers one of these years.
Yeah, we'll get that done. I know a guy. So thank you, John. Appreciate it. We'll check back in with you in 10 or so. Something pops up, holler at us.
Okay, cool.
So
right.
Go ahead, Jim.
I was just gonna say happy birthday, guys. I know.
Thank you.
I got so enveloped with the show.
I know. Yeah. Well, see, I heard from Taz Mraz just the other day. So that's what I love. I love these birthday greetings because I get quite a few, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to get that guy on the show. I'm going to get that woman on the show. All these people. Don't let me forget. So I'm going to give Miss K. Miss K has been doing a great job getting a lot of folks lined up for us. So I'll give her a big old list based on my birthday greetings that I know folks are out there.
Who gave you the best one?
So yeah, had a lot of fun, man. Went to Mission Barbecue and had a big old dinner. And on the way back, we stopped at the liquor store, and my son bought me a couple nice bottles of rye. And so I'm enjoying those in moderation, of course. But anyway, so Jim, tell us how you sort of transitioned from bracket racing and got the idea to start East Coast Fuelers. What was that like? Did that happen pretty quickly, or did it take you several years to make the transition?
It took a few years. The current car I got is an Ed Mabry chassis out of Texas. I flew down, one-way ticket down, back. It was Mike Millsaps of the Southwest Junior Fuel organization. And I liked that idea. And I was a member of a couple other groups on the East Coast. And they didn't really they had a couple blow cars, but not as much. And I was like, seeing how the funny cars are and everything else, I said, I want us to do this because it's a better show rather than seeing the other groups. Nothing against them, but it's when you see heads up, run what you brung, hope you brung enough, and they're blown because you start to blow a car up, especially front motor car with zoomies. Everybody comes to the fence most of the times. Yeah, and it's there. And it evolved into the East Coast Fuelers. I like it. It's neat. It's a great name. It's marketable. And, I'm very fortunate because I have a great group of guys I represent. Charlie Benson was one of the first guys that came on. Ray Urban, Tim Spurl. He contacted me before he got his dad's old altered, which there's another story on that. And he goes, I want to do this. And he wound up building a dragster instead. So he wanted to run something like this. I said, perfect. We had to allow Ray in because he had an altered, but no. We took a vote. So it was close, Ray. No, but it's a great show for the racetracks. It's nice. It's exciting because you know what, we are on the edge all the way down too, and we're fast. So it's we got some good cars. We're all running 7.0s, 690s in that neighborhood. Charlie Benson, he's just bad. He's badass. and he's kind of like our professor and tuner too, because he's got so much knowledge and so much. And it's like, okay, let's do this. He keeps telling us to lean it out too. So,
Yeah.
on that note, it's only too lean once, but that's
Yeah, right. Yeah. Keep it fat till nobody's running for championship points or
No.
maybe. I mean,
But the fuelers came up, and I approached the tracks and started getting a bunch together, and then Ray came on board and that opened us up to the South in the Carolinas and everything else, and it's great. It's a great show. Always looking for tracks, always looking for members too.
Right.
It's a great group of people. They're awesome. They support each other. It's just great. And it makes my job easier.
Right.
Because they are good and it's all quality product, shows.
Right.
Machines, they're all very pretty and we put kids in the seats. We put everybody, so it's very user fan friendly, and kind of how the group runs. We become a marketing partner for the racetrack or the promoter too, as well. Because we make sure that they get an ROI as well.
So you just sometimes go like at local businesses or something and set up if you get there in time, or
we try. I try to do some of that, but it's not as leverageable. Like Island, like the next couple of races we have is up in Lebanon Valley, the Dover reunion with Dino does that. Dino God bless that guy too, because he's like the Monday after that race, he's already working on the next year.
Yeah. So, he's a great artist too, by the way. Well,
yes, he is. Another Glenn type thing too. Another guy that with Glenn. And that's everybody comes around, so we try and get stuff like that. Like Island, and then after that, we're gonna be at Island with the funny car race and then us on Sunday.
Right.
Originally it was the two of us together in one show, and Melissa and Carl spread it out a little bit, which would probably be, see how that works, and that'd be nice. Just a good weekend. And those guys did a great job at that racetrack with Melissa and Carl at Island Dragway.
Right.
They do a whole bunch. We try and get it done, get them all together on that, and we want to get people in the store, in the fans, fans in there, and make it all fun. So we've done some charities, we've done some races for cancer at the Wilkesboro Dragway.
Right.
Paul and Cindy down there, they do something like that. We said, okay, we'll come out. We did a couple of years of time. We just actually ran it for free.
Right.
So, on that too. Yeah.
Did you, looking at the car, I mean, the cars are beautiful. They're well turned out. The guys, they look good. They run well. And it's really a great show. Where are all the teams from? I mean, are they largely from the Northeast? Do you have them kind of all over the East Coast?
The whole East Coast. We have teams from New Hampshire and the Boston area around there, all the way down to the Carolinas.
Wow.
So, Bruce Hacker's down in the Carolinas. Mark Prince is down there too. Bob and Ryan Carey, they're down in the Carolinas. Ray is in Virginia. Tim's in Virginia Beach. So, what else? We got some Pennsylvania guys. I think I'm the only guy from Jersey. Some guys in New York too. Yeah, we got a whole bunch. Billy Masiello runs with us. So yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, you were saying before the show that, and I haven't heard of any other promoters sort of doing this. I mean, you put different cars at different tracks and locations sort of on the same weekend, right? That's pretty amazing. No wonder they call you the cat herder.
It makes for an interesting day sometimes, and so, and I got to thank my wife for putting up with me for doing this too, to be honest with you, because I'm running a lot. There's a lot of time and doing things, but like this weekend coming up, we're going to be up at Lebanon Valley, and then I also have another show, theoretically, another race going on in Kilcare with the Harley Davidson All Harley World Shootout, and I got 4 cars there too, and that's an amazing event. Because we did one down at 710 Dragway last year. And it's wild because all day long you hear Harleys racing. All day long, Harleys, because they're a distinctive sound. And then we make a pass and we start up and we're at the turnaround first pass and you can hear a pin drop. And the only thing you hear is us running. Everybody comes to the fence. It was really wild. That's an eerie feeling, and it's actually good to see. So it's really cool. That's neat.
Cool. It's old school. It takes some, those old school Harley guys and gals. That's a pretty good crowd, a pretty good mix, I think, for what you do.
Yeah, it is, and it's great. And on that, and like the Dover race, it's probably going to be. That's usually one of the bigger crowds and fans. And I don't know if anybody's been to Lebanon Valley, where it's neat because it's like the old races where you pulled right down in front, the return road in front of the stands.
Right. Cool.
And so you're going by them and they're all cheering you on and stuff. And that's a great feeling. I love that feeling. And it's really, and everybody's cheering us. And I think that's really neat. That's nice. Like ACO used to do that, was like that similar, on that too. Yeah.
No, it's the whole experience, man. It's awesome.
It is.
Let's do another check-in, man. The 10 minutes went by fast. John, who's out there, sir?
Well, we've had 2 more people show up. We have Randy Johnston with us tonight, and Jack Red is here.
All right.
Yeah, I sent Jack the URL, and he got it, so he's with us.
You're the man.
We don't have any questions yet, but I will have questions and comments for you later, Jim.
Okay.
Right now I'm monitoring the chat. So
there you go. Well, sometimes what we need is answers. We go.
Oh yeah, man! Everybody's listening to this, and it's great. We're all enjoying it, Jim. You're doing a great job for us.
Thank you, guys.
Awesome. Well, where's Jim? Where's the crew going for the rest of the year? How many more events? You mentioned Lebanon Valley, of course, and
Lebanon Valley. We have Island this year, Island race, and then at right now the last race is Roxborough.
Okay.
Which is Island and Roxborough. There's another weekend, two races in one weekend too. As far as that.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's interesting. So that's going to be our last one for this year. Next year, we're in Cecil. We do the Funny Car Chaos. We'll hope we get back with Wes Ellis down in Carolina, North Carolina. I forgot you asked part what track it was.
Yeah. Oh, but you were saying Roxborough, right? Is that the Nancy Wilson event?
Yes,
awesome.
The Nancy Wilson event. Roxborough is having us as well because I said, you know what, we want something cool. And the young lady reached out to me. I reached out. She goes, yeah, that would be great. And then she goes, what about funny cars? I said, I got somebody. So I called up Chris Mazzarella.
Yeah.
Said, Chris, here you go. This is what you want to talk to. So, and Rocky's going to be there. Jimmy Lloyd's going to be down there too.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So
awesome.
he runs with us. He's a character. He's a good guy.
Just keeping the vibe going, man. It's pretty cool.
The old school. It's fun. It's neat. It's a great time. People look at us and go, you're interesting for sitting there.
Yeah.
I guess the strongest cross member you want.
Yeah.
Is the rear end.
Yeah, it's imposing. I know I was honored to sit inside the 1964 Crosier Baltes and Lovato car a couple of years ago. Actually, one of Nancy Wilson's events. We did it down at the big track there. Wasn't ZMAX. I guess that's where it was. It's one of the big
ZMAX. I thought it was a couple. Yeah, I know.
It wasn't ZMAX. It was what's the other?
Rockingham. Was it Rockingham? No,
it was. It's the new one. What do they? I can't remember. But it was a gigantic track. But it was fun. But that's a whole lot of horsepower right between your legs.
It's a lot of. First time I started my blower up, because I had an injected motor first, and then I put the blow motor in, and I got it running, and it was December, and I sit in the car, I got it started, and I sit in the car, and I hit the throttle, and it just twists the chassis. I was like, okay, this is interesting. Like, okay, here we go.
Yeah. That's pretty great. That what did you run with that first car? Was it a 9-second car? Did you
No,
440?
which the dragster, the one I'm in
Yeah.
now with the I was running 780s with an injected motor, a little
Wow.
383. Well, Tom Martino built my motor, so
Okay.
but it was nothing crazy. The heads were where the magic was done on that. So
Yeah. Well, that's
yeah,
scary. So you were catching up on a lot of people. No wonder they needed a flag on the front end of that thing.
yes, exactly.
Slip up on them.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah.
Well, what's the plans for the winter? Does anybody talking about building new cars or upgrading their motors or?
If anybody does, they keep it. They just do. I know a lot of maintenance on a lot of guys like that will do that. Tim Spurl's going to get a new chassis because he did the wheel stand at Wilkesboro.
Okay.
And Tim Kraus, we'll see how that comes about. Because he was the gentleman with the red altered at MIR.
Yeah, got a little whack there.
God bless him. And someone was watching over him. Bottom line, TK's a good guy. And his dad's got the comp coupe, that yellow
Right.
one.
Right.
And he's going to be up at Lebanon this year, this
Awesome.
week. So they got a good crew up there this time. So it's going to be fun. It'll be good.
Cool stuff. Well, over the years, what were some of your favorite races, finishes, or even records? What did you?
Every race, the first time I went to Bradenton was a great time with this car. I've been on more travel with this car than I've been with any others. Like I went to Englishtown with my other. I had a 67 Cuda that with the motor in there.
Right.
Diamond Race Cars built that.
Wow.
You
don't think about dragsters when you think Diamond Racer. You think about, Mopar Pro stocks and stuff.
Right. Well, they didn't build the car, but they helped me with the rear end on the Garless car and stuff, the first one. But
cool.
It's this car. I had more travels. Probably the most interesting moment with this car, it was up at Quaker City, and I blew the rear end going through the ice.
Oh man.
I hear it going clunk, and I'm going through. I hit the parachute, fuel shut off, and I got my hand on the brake, and I go, "Don't lock up, don't lock up." And it didn't. So unfortunately, I made the turn around. It was all good. So
wow.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing.
Yeah, you're getting her done in the lights there. That's amazing.
Yeah. Wins, we didn't do a whole lot of competition because I've always, with this particular car, I've always done, the exhibitions and fun.
Right.
I used to run my friend Jeff Morris. We had same cars and we would race against each other, almost identical performance wise. And we would be running down in Bradenton and the dew would come down in the evening. Right. And my car's skating at about 1,000 foot and his skating too. And I'm like, I'm not lifting because I'm not hearing his.
Yeah.
The two of us, we never lifted on that one. It was a good fun rivalry that we had. So
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, Bud's Creek used to get pretty dewy in the evening too.
Yes.
Right there on the sea level.
Yes, it does. And Bradenton still does it to this day, from what I understand too. So like we go on a Thursday night and just about 6, 7 o'clock, the starting line, always 8 miles, great, and then it just starts getting heavy over there.
Yeah.
But, it would be interesting if it happens more since the development's around there too. Just thinking geographically,
right.
The farmland's gone.
Is that right?
Yeah. Last time I was there 2 years ago, I go, the strawberry fields are gone, and then I look and there's a development right next to the track. I was like,
that's scary. God. Like,
it's unfortunate. I mean, it's great. It's development and it's progress, but you don't complain. It's like, buying a house next to JFK and go,
yeah,
oh, there's an airport there.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm worried about. I used to put when we did a thing called Classic Thunder, when I was helping promote a circuit, we ran at Bradenton a couple of times, which was a blast. But yeah, I don't remember the dew then. I think we raced during the day. Can't remember. But it was but it was not built up around then at the time.
No, it's all farmland. It's all farmland. And and that's all development. It only happened within the last few years. And the new owners of Bradenton are really doing a killer job as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that track has always been prepped. I mean, you walk right out of your shoes. It's like MIR. Royce does that too.
Yeah.
I dead hook coming out of the water box in this car once.
Yeah.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah. It's good air and good bite. You know,
Yeah.
they used to set a lot of IHRA records. It was always between Budds Creek and Epping to see who was going to take the IHRA records that year. It seemed because they
Yes.
were
Yes.
sort of the same. Well,
Epping
we're
was a
so
lot. Go ahead.
we're man, it's 10 minutes ago. Sean, we got anybody else dropped in and any questions or comments?
Well, a couple of guys are talking about the Bruce Larson's thing coming up. And are you planning to go to that?
I am. My buddy Dale is gonna hook me up because Denise is gonna be out of town with our only car. And so Dale and Lisa are gonna take us up the road. Mr. Jack doesn't know that yet, but we're gonna go up on Friday night, stay over, and do the event on Saturday, and then come back. So it'll be.
That sounds great, man. Well, I have a question for Jim. I believe you told me once that your Dragster was at one time a top fuel car and it's been upgraded. Can you tell us some of the history of that rail?
Yeah, it's actually from what I understand, it was Paul Smith's Comp Eliminator World Champ car from 1973 out of Dallas, out of that area.
Wow.
Yeah, and
many Paul Smiths. This is the Texas Paul Smith.
It's funny. Steve Gibbs was at a car show a couple of years ago in January, and he looks at the car, and I go, "This is Paul Smith's." He goes, "Yeah, the other Paul Smith." So he knew exactly my car.
Yeah.
On that, and I still got the clutch pedal for it too as well, the original clutch pedal, because it had a B&J 3-speed. It had a Hemi in it with a B&J 3-speed, and you know, it was a badass car. And Ed Mabry built the chassis, and just before I had an opportunity to call Ed, he passed away from an accident in his shop. It was like, ugh. But his son calls me up, and he goes, "I think," because my other buddy had a Mabry certified chassis, but Ed didn't build it. He put his tag on it, and Steve Mabry called and said, "I think you have Paul's old car." I said, "Well, I still have the belly pan, and I didn't paint it." I go, the under the belly pan is blue. He goes, "Yes, that's Paul's car."
That's
So
awesome.
and it's, and he goes, "Well, does it have this? Does it have that?" I mean, this thing's probably been front half, back half, mid half, and rehabbed.
Right.
Or you see all the sleeves and the welds, and you can see the engineering of like Ed thinking about it, and Paul Smith, and a couple other guys. There's another gentleman that's a friend on Facebook that I showed him, and he said, "Yeah, that's Paul's car," because he crewed with Paul.
Yeah. Awesome.
So it's a great car. It's a 180-inch car. It's still got a torsion bar front end. It's pretty close to original at that. Still, there's only a handful of upgrades done to it.
Cool. It looks terrific, and it's got a classic angle to it. The rake of the car and the length of it and everything is just perfect. And I thought I heard you mention back half. It must have been back halved or something to upgrade it to current certification.
Yeah.
Right. Well, the artwork on it is gorgeous too.
The artwork, the side panels blended, the bevels and everything else on Seconds of Pleasure blended that. Seconds of Pleasure was actually done by Alan Johnson, another artist, and the pinstriping was done by Mike Millsap's good friend that passed away. He said, "If you can, leave it on there if you don't paint it." And I stayed true to that request. And
awesome. Yeah,
it is. And it's a beautiful paint job. So why mess with it?
Yeah, it's good. It's classic. It's gorgeous.
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody looks at the car and goes, "It's got a really neat stance. It looks really cool." So
yeah. It's half of it,
John Sergio was like, "Jimmy, if you ever sell it, let me know." And he goes, "I love it." He goes, "But I got to get in it with my suit on." And he goes, "Nah, it's too tight." I said, "Okay."
Yeah. Things saved you there.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Well, tell us, as you go up and down the highways and byways in your racing career, tell us some stories. What's some funny things that happened over the years?
Let's see. Funny things that happened. Gosh, meeting Ray for the first time. That's an interesting story.
Got it.
Racing with my boys, everybody just having a good time on there. Funny stuff. Really hasn't been that much. I mean, not that I can remember. I wish I did. I'm sure I can. Like tonight at 2:00 in the morning, I'll remember.
Did you ever have any like weird quirks happen at the Dragster? We talked about losing the rear end going through the lights at Quaker City. Anything else like that?
Yeah, just recently at EMP, I took out a few cones. I'm waiting for someone to give me a cone as a present. Because every one of our guys, whenever a cone gets taken out, somewhere all of a sudden it appears in your trailer.
Yeah.
At Maple Grove, going through first couple times with the blower motor. Next thing you know, my front wheels hike up at about 800 feet, 900 feet.
Wow.
So it's like, okay, time to put some mag back in it and stuff.
Yeah.
Mike Hall's like that. He goes, yeah, you got to put some more timing in it, I think,
So what happened there? Was it on a gear change or?
It's just everything came together. No, it was after the gear change. It just started making horsepower more. So, yeah.
That's fascinating. Yeah. Wheel stands at the beginning of the run are, commonplace, but
yeah.
It's a hell of a thing
on that time. I was like, okay. I was like, oh, just ease it down and stuff like that. But fortunately, it was still going straight, which is a good thing, which is what you want. Both sides on lines. Fun stuff. God, we just have a lot of fun all the time too. All of us.
Yeah.
And it's. Probably the funniest thing that happened was Ray walking around with his green suit.
Like the Green Goblin there, right?
Yes. That's a whole nother story. You got to ask Ray on that one. We just have a lot of good times. The race experience is a lot of fun. Funnier things, getting a blowout. I mean, you hate that. Or when I lost a tire on coming home off the trailer, just passed me.
Yeah. Oh, really? Oh my gosh.
Yeah. 5 minutes from Ray's house. And then, you talk about a truck driver pulled over behind me. He got out of his truck and went and got the tire in the median on 85.
Oh, awesome.
And he came back and gave it to me and everything else. I was like, and I go around to give him a couple of bucks and he's gone.
Wow.
So, but the tire passing me was interesting. But the tire passing me, going faster than me as I was slowing down, is not a good feel. That was interesting.
It's amazing how these are mechanical things, and it's amazing how well they do stick together.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy. Well, what are some of your interests away from drag racing?
I'm fortunate I have 2 grandchildren now.
Awesome.
They're out in Kansas, just surviving every day. Just hanging out and taking care of everything at home and stuff. I'm an optician, so I make eyeglasses and stuff, and that's fun, helping people and other things like that. Just hanging out, just getting things done, and I'm pretty boring as far as that stuff. I'm not flying from airplanes or whatever and stuff like that.
Well, you get your yayas out at the track. That's the
yeah, exactly. Like someone wanted to trade something that I'm trying to sell, and I said, "How about a motorcycle?" No. Okay, that's fair enough.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I can barely drive I'm not a bad driver, but I mean those guys on those bikes and on these roads with these drivers,
nowadays it's off the road. Yeah. It's the donor cycles, but that's another story. But
I've heard that.
That's not. It's some of the way some of these guys do. But regardless, but my wife's like, no, like I wanted to go skiing one time. She goes, no, you'll come home with a broken leg. So forget it. So we're not going to do that.
I, okay.
But the grandchildren's really a big thing, you know, watching them grow up. She'll be 5, and my grandson just turned a year. So,
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, my kids. Come on, guys. You gotta get with it here. Yeah, no pressure.
Yeah, no pressure, right? No, but you know, they're out in Kansas, so they're out in Manhattan, Kansas. So,
Awesome.
yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, there's a parts supply place used to be out there. They used to sponsor Ken Venny.
Yes. You know, and it's funny, my son had some a quick side note on that. He got something happened and he had some masonry work done. And the guy says, "Yeah, I could do it. I'll come by, but I got a race in Texas." And I go, "Race in Texas?" And he goes, "Yeah." And turns out it's Nitro Clown, which is yeah. I go, he just crashed and went into the cornfield at Eddiefield. Dave Gallagher's.
Yeah.
So, but that's pretty small world. So, yeah.
Yeah,
So
it is a small world, but yeah. Do you so you know, a lot of people, do you have any sponsors that support the circuit, and you want to take a couple of moments to give some shout outs there?
Absolutely. You know, Alky Diggers, Mike, Tony, Shannon, and Brandon down there, Braden. Those guys are awesome. He takes care of us. He sponsors a race, a bunch. You know, he kicks in like the Island Dragway race. He's sponsoring us on that. You know, Mike and I talked back in 09 when he was just doing it out of his coffee table in his house, just for fun. And it's grown into this huge entity and probably one of the bigger suppliers and stuff. He helps you with tune-ups and everything else and all of that stuff. He helps us with parts, advice, and just helps us races all around. Competition Products is actually good too. Steve at Competition Products helps us out as well. You know, we got a bunch of little guys that run around to help each other. Like some teams, Lucky Dog Grill helps Don Landis. Charlie has his engine. Gosh, I forgot his name on there. Up by his house, upstate New York. You know, they're all good people as far as that. Anybody that supports us is great, but Alky Diggers, Competition Products help us in the big spectrum.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks, guys, because we get the benefit of that when we get to see these guys run.
And probably the biggest sponsor is my wife. Thank you. As far as that, you know, for letting me do this. Well, you know,
a little bit of money and all your time, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but with my time, a lot of my time. So, but she's good with that. So it's awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, let's do a quick check-in with John. John, any final thoughts from the gang out there for our friend Jim?
Well, I just found out Jack Red is going to be celebrating his 90th birthday at Bruce Larson's on October 19th.
My
Way
buddy.
to go, Jack. Yeah, I'll have what he's having.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, hearing about the East Coast Fuelers is just an inspiration to me. I would love to have you guys come out here and race in Texas, but you know, that's asking a lot. It's like trying to get y'all to come out to Bakersfield and race there, you know, but what you have going on is fantastic. And I'm just glad that you're doing it because it needs to be done, to tell you the truth.
Taking folks back. Thanks, John. It's awesome.
Thank you, John. You know, I almost went out to Kansas, and you know what? Exactly. You hit a spot on that. It is old school and it is old front motor cars, and we're the only show that's like that on the East Coast. You know, in regards the bigger show. Let's put it that way. I don't want to step on other people's toes, but it's and it is, and it's a nice product and the guys that race with us just make it easy as far as that, and as far as the quality of the cars and just the way they run, you know. Even when we blow up, we do it in great fashion. So
that's awesome. That's part of the show, right?
It's not a great show for us, but it's the same. It's all good though. But it is good though.
Well, for me, a final question, Jim. Where can folks find you on the internet or elsewhere if they want to follow along with East Coast Fuelers?
Probably the best or the most active is on our Facebook, East Coast Fuelers.
Okay.
We do have a website, eastcoastfuelers.com. If anybody wants to reach out, there's in there. The website, again, I'm an analog guy in a digital world, so I'm trying to work with it. I do the best I can with it as far as that. That's there. I mean, I've had tracks reach out to me. I've had other people reach out to me. I'm definitely open. Definitely would like to get into other racetracks. Anybody on the East Coast, anybody that has a front motor, blown front motor, it's got to be either blown or injected nitro or a percentage of nitro. That's the only qualifications. Run what you brung, hope you brung enough.
And for the altereds, is that a one guy, the Green Goblin exception, or are you looking for altereds as well?
Well, Ray is an exception to the human race, but that's another story. Love you, Ray. No, but it's no, the Goblin. He's got the body on it. He had a T body on it first, but
yeah,
it's the motor's got to be in front of you, can't be off to the side. We try and keep it like Ray's body is great because it's two pieces. Right. He's still got the front grill on there, and it's got to be the old school stuff. So that's the only, if you got something that's pretty close, let us know. We'll look at it. Not that we're snobs, so that's not furthest from it.
I tell you that back in 20 years ago when I was helping do this, and I ended up getting too deep because I'm helping write rules and stuff over the winter, and everybody sort of, I mean, I don't know if you get this, but everyone wants their car, as long as their car's in, that's the one, that's good, but nobody else can run, anything else that's not legit. And it was a heck of a thing.
Yeah, the rules are actually pretty simple, and they're on my website also, on our website, but it's straight out. Those are the two real requirements. No nitrous. We try and stay away from that on there. Yeah. It's the only thing at the moment, but you never know. But more than likely no, because that becomes an issue. But it's got to be either blown alcohol or blown or injected nitro. That's really the only stipulation. Ignitions, you can run anything you want. Most of us run a grid or a mag. So I try and keep it simple, because then all of a sudden you got to regulate and this and that.
Yeah.
And, he's doing this. Stop.
Yeah. Yeah.
We keep it easy. It's like the old school. Bring it in, run what you run.
Well, Jim, that sounds like a good place to stop tonight, man. That's good. Thanks so much for joining us, and great circuit. Look forward to seeing you somewhere down the road. Ladies and gentlemen, Jim Cummings of East Coast Fuelers.
Thank you, guys.
Have a great holiday season as we approach the end of the year, and a safe couple of races.
Thank you, guys, and you too, and thanks for all of the exposure. Appreciate it.
You got it. All right, folks. Jim Cummings, thank you, sir. We will see you down the road.
Thank you.
Bye. All right, that was awesome. Let us go to now to John Bachman for this week's JB's Take and the Racer of the Week. John, take it away.
Thanks, VP. I thought I'd mention I'm wearing my purple Draglist shirt tonight because Jim's Dragster is purple and the Racer of the Week's cars are purple too.
So yeah,
I'm right in there. Yeah, I'm color coded with y'all. And my pick for Racer of the Week is Gary Parks from Columpton, United Kingdom. Gary's love of drag racing started in the 70s as his father had a very passionate interest in racing. As soon as he went to his first race, he was hooked, running around the pits getting the autographs of his heroes like Mr. Six, Dennis Priddle, and cars like the Mr. Revell Slingshot, the T-Rat, etc. He's been in it ever since. The history of the name Purple Days started with a 1958 Ford Popular, which was a road car and built with the intention of racing her. However, once she was completed, Gary was a little too sentimental to race her in case there was an incident, so she remained a show car. And it's a beautiful piece, Gary. Whilst Gary still owned the Ford Pop, a Model T came up for sale from a friend and a fellow racer. This was turned into Purple T Days. The bucket had a 3.5-liter Rover engine, but Gary soon realized that he had every intention of going faster. So he quickly replaced this with a 5.7-liter small block Chevy. His wife and backup girl was very fond of the bucket after driving around the pits in her. And the need for speed was not satisfied, as Gary then replaced Purple Tea Days with a fuel altered, which they called Purple Days. She was a beast, running a 10-liter big block Chevy with an 871 blower running on methanol and alcohol. Unlike the 11s they achieved with the bucket, Gary ran a 7.3 ET at 185 miles an hour at Santa Pod in the fuel altered with the supercharged Outlaws UK. This was a huge tick off his bucket list. When he was a young boy running around the pits, it was something he dreamed of, but never anticipated being able to achieve this dream. Well, he got there. Since then, circumstances changed as they do in life, and Gary had to sell the altered. Some friends of theirs, Carl Bergfeld and his wife Christy, came up with the idea of sharing a car to enable them all to continue racing. Carl was Gary's crew chief for the fuel altered, and he decided he would like the opportunity to be behind the wheel. So they went into partnership and bought a Hillman Minx from a friend, which is now known as the Purple Days Express. The Hillman was contested in street class, and they have now begun to unlock its potential, giving us a 9.6 ET at 135 miles an hour at the last outing. Next year, they're looking forward to making a few changes within the budget and hopefully make it an enjoyable, fun time so they can continue to race. This is great racing by a great team, Gary and Carl, and we're looking forward to hearing about your next step in drag racing. I've watched your videos and they're awesome. We wish you good luck, safe racing, and the best of times in the future. I had a great time at the Hot Rod Picnic yesterday. I visited and hung out with my hot rod and drag racing friends who I haven't seen in quite a while. I sang the national anthem before we had a fantastic lunch. Mike Grossman gave a beautiful blessing preceding the anthem, and David Strom, who is now the event organizer, gave a great speech to everybody who brought their awesome hot rods out in the heat to join all in the fun. The event celebrated its 15th year in a row. It was founded by Pee Wee Bowen and Billy Bunch in 2009, and it's a wonderful party. David is keeping Pee Wee and Billy's legacy alive with this, and I'll be there to support this group in the future. We lost Pee Wee and Billy within days of each other in 2023, but we all could feel their spirit with us yesterday. Debbie, my sons Kyle and Nick, and Bill and Scott of the City Kings are taking me to dinner tomorrow evening for my birthday at Good Company Barbecue. I'm going to stuff myself. We have a few more tracks to do to finish the first song of our next album. It's much more complex than the first album we made in 2005. We're doing this ourselves using a 24 Tascam digital Porta Studio. The first song we're doing, which is the one we're doing now, was written by Bill Gibson. It's called Something Has to Change. We have a couple of dozen songs ready to go, but Nick commanded us to record this song first. It's a heavy rock song. I'll be providing updates as this project goes along. Everybody stay safe and well. You are the most important part of this show, and we love you all. We look forward to having y'all with us every week. It's a great way for us to spend an hour together on a Monday night. And I'll see y'all next time. God bless America. Back to you, BP.
Thank you, John. Great stuff as always, my friend. And if I keep my elbow out of the shot next time, we'll be in good shape. But great stuff. And congrats to our Racer of the Week. Let's go ahead and do a couple of segments here. I do want to talk about what's coming up next. Well, first of all, let's talk about a couple of things. This weekend, the Supercharger Showdown at Budds Creek, Maryland, the awesome event. Check out the web for more details, but just look up, you just Google it or Bing it or whatever you do. But at Maryland International Raceway, the Supercharger Showdown coming up. I would love to go. I have an event on Saturday night for work that I have to do, unfortunately, and I'm going to miss it. But please go and tell me how it goes. And also, as mentioned earlier, the USA One Drag Fest at Bruce Larson's coming up on October 19th. That's going to be really, really awesome. And please go on up there. And thanks to Dale Broderick and Lisa, who are going to be chauffeuring me and Mr. Jack up the road. Jack, I haven't called you yet, but so here's your official notice. We'll go up on Friday night, have a nice dinner, and then enjoy the all day the next day, and then head on back. So looking forward to seeing my friend Bruce, the 1989 Funny Car World Champion, and proud as always to be the exclusive place where you can find out all about it. We put the poster up, the flyer for the event up on the front page of Draglist this past weekend. So go on up there and have a look and join us. Upcoming guests, folks, thanks to our Miss K. We get Scott Arriaga next Monday night, the Jet Dragster driver, second generation racer. And of course, we see him with the Wicked Sensation car, tuning that and doing a great job. Also announcing now October 21st, Gary Pritchett will be joining us. That's right, formerly known as Little Bear. Now he's a Super Bear, tall and handsome, and recently winning top alcohol dragster event on the NHRA Tour. So he drives everything. He drives the Bunny Burkett car when he's in town. He is licensed in a Top Fuel dragster. He was on the crew of the Capco team forever and ever. He just does it all. And a person I've known for many, many years, since I was taller than him. That is no longer the case. But really looking forward to having Gary Pritchett on the show October 21st. Also looking for guests on the 7th and the 14th. Miss Kay and I will put our heads together and get that announced for you next week. We'll be sharing that. So good stuff coming up. Scott Arriaga next Monday night. And going to those we lost, only one to report this week, but a big name, Jerry Alt, passing away on the 19th. You remember seeing in the magazines, because he was a winning racer, the Alt and James H-Gas Corvettes running in modified eliminator. Great racer. Lots of love for Jerry up on the internets this last week. So farewell to Jerry Alt of Alt and James, one of the great sportsman racers of all time. With that, folks, I think we're close to wrapping. John, any final thoughts from you on the show or anything else?
It was great having Jim Cummings with us tonight. He is one hell of a great guy. And I think the East Coast Fuelers are one of my favorite groups, along with the Supercharged Outlaws in the UK. And, some of these smaller organizations are keeping the spirit of our sport alive. And I couldn't be happier than to call these people my friends. So I'm looking forward to next week and having Scott with us. And everybody have a great week.
Yeah, you bet. Well, thank you, John. Yeah, it's exciting. So Scott, yeah, we're gonna put Scott on the spot. He's been racing. His dad raced, Al Arriaga, raced Jets forever, raced Fuel Funny Cars, raced Pro Stock Cars, and I'll bet Scott was right there with him every step of the way. So lots to talk about next week.
Yes, sir.
Let's go ahead and say farewell. We want to thank Jim Cummings for coming on. He was amazing. Of course, my brother John Bachman, Kay Turkelson. She's a fireball. She's all over the place and just causing grins all over the West Coast and here on the East Coast as well. Thanks to Rob McCabe, who's been updating the drag lists. And also, let me throw a little shout out to Nitro Joe Jackson, who does his own stats and is the man for sportsman racing stats. Just chatting with him today, he's going to give us a massive trove of stats for the alcohol cars, the top dragsters, top sportsmen, and all the way down, and sending those to our Rob McCabe, who may be questioning his sanity now about taking on this role of updating Draglist with us. But thank you, Rob. Thank you, Nitro Joe. And thanks forever to Danny White, the man who, since 1990 until just last year, basically did 90% of the Draglist updates. Also, thanks, thanks to everybody who contributes. Recently talking with the great Steve Reyes, who has offered his photography for the exclusive use of illustrating some of the Draglist entries. So really looking forward to adding those as well. And just in auto imagery, got to talk about auto imagery, Jim Shute, Dave Kommel. I mean, just everybody's been so generous with their hard work, and they're doing it to help us put down the footnotes for what foot drag racing was during the time that we did it. We're still doing it every year. We still add the new cars, so it's pretty exciting. Anyway, let me move on here. Thanks to Jeff Gilder of Zeus Digital Marketing, Racers Reunion, and Wingding Media. Flo says, again, click the like and share buttons. Let your friends know that we're out here. Even if you're watching the recording, that will still count. And if you care to, please subscribe to our channel here. One of these days, soon, let's see if I can get somebody to copy all the videos to this place right here, so that we have them all here. And they go back to 2010. I mean, many racers who are not with us anymore, and just some really truly terrific shows over the year. We need to get those corralled up and put them out here on YouTube. Folks, check in on draglist.com daily to see what's new. My friend Ohio Dave Oaks with some really great photos up there, and of course, as we mentioned, lots of good stuff almost every day. And let's finally, and by the way, we have, we repost all of our great stories, or many of our great stories, here on Facebook, or over on Facebook, I should say. So a lot of folks being able to check those things out with, many years of doing this. We've been doing this since 1996. Lots of good stuff to repost that many folks have never seen before. So we love doing it. We're going to keep doing it. And you keep having a good time in your life. Have a wonderful week. We will see you next Monday for Scott Arriaga, where we will ask him exactly how to say his last name, even though he lets everybody say it that way, because it's just easier than correcting them. But folks, have a fantastic week, and we'll